Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. One of my streams seems to be having some problems. So I'm just going to keep going and we're going to save this and be able to watch it afterwards. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Gail Hanlon, your host of Everything Homeschooling, Unschooling, and every other type of learning that you can imagine. So, we are going to have a wonderful day today. We're going to talk about transitions. There are lots of different transitions, and specifically from homeschooling to unschooling, and from unschooling to school. You have lots of questions, I know. Please put them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them or bring you on the show and we'll talk about it together. Please don't hesitate. You can click that link in the comments or in the description of the show. And for now, we'll get started. I'll be right back. Well, I hope that's how you're all feeling, happy and free. So, today, yes, I'm having some technical issues, as life would have it, and that's not going to stop me. So, you can find this episode live on my personal oh no, on a couple of places, Facebook, on Learn Free. It's a page, and on the Agate Private School page, because my personal one, my LinkedIn, and the Restream doesn't seem to be working for me right now. So we're going to march ahead with talking about transitioning. Now, if you're already homeschooling, that means a lot of different things to different people, but you're at home educating. And whether you've chosen a school at home type of format or method, um, or another method like project based or see Charlotte Mason and umpteen other types of alternatives, a Montessori style or a Waldorf style. Those are all what we call, or what are called, um, pedagogical methods. And what is pedagogy? Now, I thought I knew, but then I went and looked it up, and I'm going to share this image with you that explains exactly what pedagogy is and how it affects what we do with our kids. So, let me find my image here. So, pedagogy means a top-down type of style or method. So, a child might come to you and say, "Hey, mom, what's this?" And you would say, "Listen to me and I will teach you." And your child may be exactly that kind of kid. However, there's another way, which is called andragogy. Andragogy is when a child would come to you and say, "Hey, what's this?" And you would say, "I don't know, let's find out." Where the two of you would go and you would show your child or demonstrate how to learn, like looking it up online, looking it up in a book, um, searching or asking an expert, um, just being able to access different places for that information. So I've come back to I'm going to use this one. So actually, this one is better. I will make it bigger and put it on the screen. So give me a second. Of course, the image I really wanted isn't, I can't find, of course. Found it before the show, but of course now it's playing head games with me. Ah, there it is. Okay, let's look at this. Let me pull it down here. Pedagogy over on the left is basically you telling them the answer to their question. Andragogy is let's find out together, which helps them learn how to learn. Then hudagogy over here, over my face, there we go, is I wonder what that is. Let me take a photo of it and do some research later. Now, of course, a younger child would not be saying that to themselves. Um, but if you have taught or if you've demonstrated for your child that they can find things out for themselves, so it's a going from pedagogy to andragogy to hudagogy, and ages come in there. The other demonstration of that is right here. And I'm going to make this big. So here we've got pedagogy on the left, the teacher teaching the learners, and that hierarchy. And that's decided by the teacher. It's not decided by the learners. So when you're taking your kids out of school and transitioning to homeschooling, you do what is called deschooling, which is helping them learn how to learn and be self-directed. So if you are replicating the teacher-student relationship and just giving them the work to do. You still might have the same kind of problems that you would have in school had they been still in school. Andragogy in the middle there is that self-directed, and your child comes to you and says, "Ooh, how do I do this?" And you say, "I don't know, let's go find out." So so that is the middle ground for, self-directed learning. Pedagogy is the ultimate self-determined learning, learner-centered learning. So now I'm gonna take that out of here and go back to what we were talking about. So now that you understand the difference between pedagogy, top down, being told what to do, and andragogy, looking things and seeing them and wondering and learning how to learn, that should help clarify a few things. Transitioning then from school at home to unschooling or self-directed education is something that is very hard for us to do as parents because we've been taught. Now here's my new favorite quote from a book called Skip College, and the quote is, "We were taught to be taught, so we learned to be led." Instead of thinking for ourselves and creating the paths that we wanted to the places and being curious and adventurous and ingenious, we followed other people. And that's what we were taught to do. We were taught to be taught, so we learned to be led. And that is what we change. Because we've had 4 generations of being taught to be taught and learn to be led, coming out of that is fearful, and we don't think we have what it takes to do that. We are afraid. Are we good enough? Will our child still be able to do all those wonderful things that we've been taught? A schooling, pedagogical schooling, will help our children and will be there for our children. So breaking free from that, learning how to trust yourself. Trust your own observation. Just because you haven't been to teachers college does not mean you cannot observe your child and be confident with what they're learning. So for instance, a couple of days ago, a friend was over with her daughter and she made this beautiful picture. And the picture was geometrical designs, and it included people and the colors. So it was really fascinating because sometimes as parents, we look at things and we don't get it. We don't get what our kids are thinking, even though what they're thinking matters. It counts. Everything that they do count. If you hear yourself saying, all my kid does is XYZ, you are missing an opportunity. If something has captured your child's attention, video gaming, playing games, playing with friends, playing with Lego, whatever, you are missing an opportunity to, if you're not aware of how valuable those things that your child is doing are in a learning capacity. There's a difference between learning and education, learning and school. I love the statement because it's so true. Learning happens. If you have a brain, you're going to learn. Even if you have a damaged brain, you're going to learn. And you're going to have the intrinsic motivation to learn. So, having that intrinsic desire to learn means that your children are learning 24/7 if they're breathing. So, learning happens. School is optional. School is optional. We're not told that by the government, by the school officials. We're not told school is optional. We take our children out of a system that doesn't work. We try to help them do the things that we've been taught how they should be taught, or what we've been told should be taught. And we are not trained or given the opportunity to really observe what our children are doing and how important it is, both to them, their development, and their functioning. Um, Most unschooling parents have said the some in some way this statement comes through: my children are self-aware. My children have that understanding of who they are. They don't base their um, idea of themselves on how other people see them, because they're not over socialized to their peers and under socialized to the rest of the world. So, getting back to our deschooling and helping that transition phase for the parents to realize, wow, whatever my child's doing matters. Can I see what matters and what it is that my child is attracted to that I may not be understanding? So if you say, well, my kid does is XYZ, that's your opportunity to look at what your child's doing. Look at your child. Look at why are they engaged with it? What is it? How can you support them? If they're playing a video game, can you sit next to them and say, you know, can you tell me about it? Or just observe what they're doing. Oh, do you have to get this? Because it's all something that matters. It's a pathway, it's a trigger, it's a leveling up, right? They have goals in these games. Creatively, enormous creative capacity. So when you're looking at maybe a picture that your child has drawn, first, sometimes I don't even know what it is. I gotta be honest. But I'll ask, okay, it's really colorful. I'll try to give a compliment, whatever it is, to be positive, because I work on a strength-based approach, and I think it is truly the best. So, wow, what amazing colors. Can you tell me more about your picture? And then they'll tell me what they drew and what it means to them. But what they don't see is the terminology that might be involved in that. They won't know that they're creating um, geometric patterns if they're young. If they're older, they might, but they won't necessarily know the terms. So the geometric patterns, the color balance, and color theory. They don't realize they're doing color theory when they're coloring and putting different colors beside other colors, and their eyes are recognizing it. One thing, since I've been watching TikTok, I have been aware that, children could be colorblind. Children could have all sorts of synesthesia or other ways of interpreting sounds into color, or sounds into tastes, and so we aren't trained to recognize those things in our children, but we are their best and first teachers. So when you look at your child and you see this and you communicate with them and you say, wow, that's awesome. And maybe, I'd like to take this particular picture that I'm talking about and embroider it, and maybe embroider it onto a little pillow for her, because and then maybe she'll be interested in what I'm doing and the embroidery, because if I show interest in what she's interested in, then she'll show interest in what I'm doing. Um, so the last 10 minutes now, I want to talk about the reverse transition. transitioning from a free learner, a, a self-directed, hudagogical or um, andragogical learner who is curious and has regained their natural love of learning. How does that translate when they're wanting to go to post-secondary education or wanting to take university courses? Well, the first thing my unschooled daughter said when she went to college at 17 was that she knew all the stuff, she knew all the concepts, but she didn't know the terminology and the technical terms for things. So when they said to put something in MLA format, she had no clue what they were talking about. But a quick search on the internet taught her that. She taught herself because she had learned how to learn and not just stuff. She didn't just learn the terminology, she learned how and why those things were necessary. So if you're asking yourself, you know, my child wants to go to XYZ course and they're going to need math, and I never taught math, they will understand the concepts of math if they've been actually alive and doing things in their games, their hit points, their levels, their trajectory. There's all sorts of things that are involved, numerically speaking, in real life. If they've had a job, my niece started working at 14 and was a key holder by 15. And my my other daughter, she started working at a pizza place. I talk about daughters a lot because I have 5 daughters and 1 son. So it could be any one of the 5. And my niece, of course, who is also unschooling. So my youngest daughter, she started working at a pizza place at 15. So she has no problem with the concepts of math. But the terminology is what she is searching out now. So one of the things that I introduced her to is the information about René Descartes. And if you look up René Descartes, he is the father of algebra, even though algebra goes way back in both the uh, Islamic and Arabic tradition. But René Descartes is considered the father of algebra. So reading up about that history and why that was something that people did means more to her, because then she actually understands it, and she is not one for just being told, do this, memorize it, you know, gorge and regurgitate. She wants to understand why she's learning what she's been asked to learn. So in her course, she's going to be she's in the environmental technicians course, and she needs the biology and the sciences and the maths, and to be able to take samples and do scientific in, investigations on them, for the climate change issues, for safety issues with building new buildings, new companies to be protecting our environment and our climate. So that was one thing that she decided to do, and what she recognized was, I just need the technical terminology and to go back and find out why this is going to be needed and what relevance it has to what I'm doing and how meaningful it is. Because if there's no meaning for it, if there isn't any really, meaningfulness, it's not going to be something that they're going to want to do or stick with. Now, my niece, on the other hand, she has never been to post-secondary school, but she worked for one of the largest banks in the country, and she is the manager over an entire department who have all gone to post-secondary school. The only person in the department who hasn't gone to post-secondary school was her. And she's the manager and she's their boss. And she did this because she's a, interested person. And she's a good worker. But she didn't learn that from school. She learned that from reality. So want to really say there a couple more things. Another student that I work with, she also unschooled, now wants to do focused schooling. So going from that freedom to learn is immense because she's being able to help her peers, her age peers, with things that they never understood. They did it in school, but they never understood why. So making the choice to go to a structured school environment is that whole learning happens, school is optional. If you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, I don't say teacher because anybody can be a good example and a good mentor and um, a good coach for another person. So you don't need a degree to teach in any private school, in universities and colleges. You do not need to be a licensed teacher. You need to be good at what you do. And that is not a problem for most people. So my mail this week was so exciting because I got a couple of books that are released, that are re-released with new editions. So here is Teach Your Own it's a classic book by John Holt, and it's been updated by Pat Varenga. And so if you are a fan of John Holt and Growing Without Schooling, John Holt GWS, you can find it online, and you can get that book. It is fantastic. It is the indispensable guide to living and learning with children at home. So many tips, so many tricks, so many things and ways for you to connect with your child and not have those arguments. If you want a stress-free, anxiety-free, um, and enjoyable learning experience with your child, then the concepts that we have to just shift in our minds, finding that self-confidence, giving that strength-based view to our kids by respecting what they're interested in and understanding that all of it, even if you don't think it has value, it has value to them. And I think the most extreme explanation of that is Diablo. Um, she was a 16-year-old, changed her name to Diablo, decided to become a stripper. I'm sure her parents weren't thrilled about that, but she did what she wanted to do, was not conventional at all. She wrote the book that the movie Juno was based on. She won an Oscar. She's very successful. She wrote her book was experiences of her life as a stripper and as a teen mom. So she has success, and she's a very strong and powerful person inside herself, confident, and not the type of thing that a parent would usually be exceedingly happy about. But if you can respect your children's desires and educational choices, you will have more confidence that you do a good job as a parent, and they will be okay because they do have your support. So, the last thing, most important, I saved the best for last. The 30th anniversary edition of the Teenage Liberation Handbook came in my mail this week. How to Quit School and Get a Real Life and Education. This book by Grace Llewellyn is a showstopper. It is a necessity. I can't recommend it highly enough. And if you're just getting started out, well, first of all, this book was written for teenagers. So it's specifically written for teenagers, and it's now updated. The 30th anniversary edition is updated. Just came out a few weeks ago, and so excited. But if you're starting out, yes, I'd give it to any teenager. Secondly, read chapters 7 and 12 first. Might give you a little bit more of a boost on the self-confidence and being able to know that you've got this. And so do your kids. And I am just so grateful to be able to share this information with you. And I'm so glad that you were here with me. If you are watching on replay, please say hi. Tell me where you're from. Ask any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions or comments. So please, wherever you are, let me know where you're watching from. And good afternoon, good evening, and possibly good morning. Have a great day, everybody.